Okay, so just to bring it down now to some very simple basics, not in terms of us not being able to grasp anything complicated, but just in terms of what is and what isn't necessary in making a connection. We are already divine beings. What stops us knowing it, what stops us making a connection, is simply attitude. It's simply lacking the willingness or the knowledge. It's not setting the intention to do so. It's the busyness, it's the stuff that happens, the other stuff that happens in life that just comes and takes over if we let it. Okay, here's a nice idea. Just to start the day, for example, you could light some candles. You could maybe have some oils burning, have some music that's really beautiful and inspiring, have a pile of books that you find really uplifting with just some really beautiful spiritual verse or really lovely uplifting teachings, the sort of thing that if you read a passage or two in a bookshop, you'd know, I have to buy this book, I have to take this home with me, that sort of thing. You know, the kind of books where you can feel your energy moving, where you can feel that there's something going on there that's not just about the words, it's a weaving, it's something else. There are lots of books with ascension codes in them. There's lots of very special music as well. And it's not an accident. It's all been channeled for us. It's all been given to us to help us in our awakening. So this can just be something that you do when you wake up in the morning, and therefore it can all be set up around your bed, around your bedroom. You can have, you know, a couple of white candles that you know you're going to light first thing in the morning and maybe last thing at night as well. And you're just going to play some beautiful music until you start to feel yourself being lifted above the ordinary. And perhaps you're going to read a couple of pages of something really, really inspiring. And that could be the way that you start your day. If you start your day that way, don't call it meditation. You know, maybe spend about 15 minutes, 30 minutes, get up a little bit earlier. I guarantee you that will make a difference to how the rest of your day goes. And if you really want to try to anchor that feeling in even more, and this is what I meant when I said earlier on in one of the videos about just stepping into a fifth dimensional space and rising above it. It's just the challenge is to hold on to that. But let's just remember that it is something that we are capable of doing, and if we can do it once, we can do it again and again and again, and then continuously and consistently until it becomes the norm. It becomes our state of being, rather than something that we just have a glimpse of every now and again. This is where we're going with this. So light candles, do a little bit of reading, play some music, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit quickly about a technique that you can use called anchoring, and it's an NLP technique. And the idea with anchoring is that, oh gosh, I'm going to have to go into a big explanation now, but it was developed by a guy called Bill Twitmeyer, who was very intrigued by some of the research that was done by Pavlov, the guy with the dogs. Okay, so basically Anton Pavlov, I think his name was, he had some dogs, he would take care of them, he would feed them, and he would observe them. And what he would do is, whenever it was time for a meal, he'd ring a little bell and the dogs would go running, and they'd have something to eat, they'd go away again, and then the next meal time, he'd ring a little bell, the dogs would come running, you know, dinner time, yay, and they'd have something to eat, and then they'd go away again. And he got into this pattern, and the dogs got into this pattern, and then one day, he rang the bell and he noticed that without there even being any food offered, the dogs began to salivate. So basically they were having a neurological, physical, biological reaction simply to the mental and the auditory stimulus that they'd associated and learnt to link up with food. The mind works like this quite a lot. So this is one of the reasons that it's sometimes difficult to wear certain fragrances, because they'll take you right back to a particular period that wasn't that pleasant, or it's great to wear certain fragrances because they remind you of the night that you were an amazing dancing diva on the left bank or whatever, and it all comes back to you. It's like, I smell Coco Chanel and I'm Josephine Baker, or and so, because we associate events, conditions, even the tiniest events, I trip and I scrape my shin, and at the time that I do that, someone happens to be playing the Beach Boys' Don't Worry Baby, and now every time I hear the Beach Boys' Don't Worry Baby, I think about that horrible sore point on my shin. So that's basically the way it works. And what you can do is, once you get yourself into a nice, really, really, really gentle, calm, centered, divine place, where you've listened to your music, you've read a little bit, and you've actually allowed that presence to come into your physical body and to really be there with you. Higher self, come into my body, guide my day, lead my day. You are in charge now. Once you really, really feel that you're there and it's really comfortable and really good, and you can almost see the rest of your day from a higher perspective, it all suddenly seems really small and unimportant. All those things that sometimes bother you, all of those things that sometimes jolt you out of that consciousness, the things that you believe are real. But nothing is more real than who you really are. So, one thing that you can do is make it a very small gesture, if you like, very discreet, so that you can do this anywhere. You can just pinch the thumb and the index finger together while you're in that state. And then later on, someone harasses you in a meeting, or, in the supermarket. I've got a thing about meetings in supermarkets. And you just press the thumb and the index finger together, and those feelings will start to come back. It will be a reminder to your neurology, to your body, to your mind, to your emotions, that there is that space that you can go to that you've been in before. It's quite nice actually to have a really big one. I sometimes like to have a really big gesture, just my hands over my heart, especially because when you do that, you're bringing your attention back into the heart. And then you might not want to do that when you're wandering around in public, but if you find a couple of minutes to just go and steady yourself in the bathroom or in a quiet place, and just put your hands there and breathe. Just remember, I'm a divine being. I'm much more than this. I am much, much more than this. I'm greater than this. I'm moving beyond this. I am simply moving through this experience in this time. I'm untouchable. I am infinite. Okay, and when you do that and you have a really, really grounded sense of that, it's there in your body. It's not something that's making you feel spaced out and weird. Just experiment with it. If you like, you can do a grounding exercise where you see that consciousness coming into your body, and you picture it extending way below your feet, sending roots, golden roots, way, way down into the ground, through all of the layers of earth and soil and clay and rock and stone and all of these different formations, layers and layers of formation, deeper and deeper and deeper into the core of the earth. At this point, often when I'm doing this grounding, Archangel Michael joins in and I can see him pulling the cords down, and there have been times in my life when really I've had to be pulled down, back down into this body and back down into the earth. And that can be a really helpful part of the process as well. So, okay, the music stopped again, and I found a fantastic way of timing these videos so I don't go over. And that's the grounding part, and that's the anchoring of that divine feeling. And just experiment with that and see how it feels. And I'm going to do another video where we get to use some of this lovely consciousness and do an exercise on connecting with our beautiful angelic friends. Okay, I'll see you in a minute.